I'm Dr. Livingston. This is
Greg Capo.
wonderful. Can you explain to the wonderful people what the heck you're sitting on?
I actually have no idea.
You have no idea. Okay. So, so there's no great name for this device, but we have wobble disc and we have, well, I just call it the wobble chair. But it's actually just a wobble platform because it's not the full chair, which is on the other side. But can you explain real quick why you warm up with that? So someone's coming in for the first time.
All right.
And they're like, what the heck am I getting myself into? Chiropractor, I thought they were like Gandalf the Grey, you know, walk around with canes and wizard staffs and,
right.
and shit. So we don't really do that here too much, you know,
right.
sometimes. But, so you come in, what happens when you come in?
I basically take a sit on this little wobble disc and I just start warming up. I do forward and back motions.
Yep.
And then I do some side to sides.
Yep. So you warm up your spine. All the range of motion will get back into the spine. We always teach patients at home. You're going to get care in the office. Our care in the office is going to be dictated on two things: your goals, which we'll talk about in a second, and then our exam findings. Because if we find something on exams, like, are you okay if we show your stuff? Okay.
That's fine.
So on the exams, we've got our X-rays here that we got. And then we went through a postural analysis, digitized X-ray, where we go through and mark every single vertebrae, which you will get as a patient. Every single vertebrae, front to back, and we get to see where exactly your entire spine is in the kinetic chain and how the structure's off, if it's shifted, tilted, translated, smashed, whatever's going on with the nerves, the spine, spinal cord, whatever's going on, your goals, our findings, come together and we come up with a game plan. If you just want to get out of pain, we don't preface that, but we'll do that. But there's so much more to health, which was, can you explain what your goal was? Because I would say you are maybe 50 to 60% of people that come in here.
Care of my spine over the years. I've definitely beat it up over my numerous jobs and just home chores and what have you over the years. I never really took it seriously, and if I did ever feel pain, I would just kind of be one of those guys who would just kind of shrug it off and take pills or just wait for it to go away. And after a second time of having a similar incident, I decided it's really time to nail this down, or something's going to happen long term that I'm going to regret.
So
the first time it happened, I was doing squats and I came up and I felt like a pop in my lower back, and it made it very hard to walk. It would be sometimes it would be like, if I would sit down, I'd be okay, or if I could turn, and then when I would stand up, I would get like this sharp pain, and it would almost like paralyze me for a couple seconds. And I could never really narrow it down what it was, because like I could rub my back and it'd be fine, but like the wrong twitch would just almost disable me. And then I went to a chiropractor before, and it took probably about 6 to 8 weeks to go away. And so I thought, you know, I was free. I kept doing the same stuff over and over again, and I kind of let it go. I didn't seek any more like maintenance or anything or corrective care, and I just walked away from everything. And then it happened again, and I said, all right, that's enough. I'm too afraid of what would happen long term down the road if I ignored this again.
Yeah, which is very, very smart of you. Did that person, I don't remember if you said, did they take X-rays?
They did not.
Okay, so they didn't take X-rays. So that was one of the things I think even you may have mentioned to me, was finding, you knew something was going on, but you didn't know exactly what, and of course finding out what the heck is actually going on.
Right.
And then one of the things we do a little different here is the way we do exams go through orthopedic neurological exams, which any other doctor can tell you that's just kind of a routine thing you kind of should do. It just gives you a lot of information that you can then present to the patient and say, hey, I did a bunch of these things. Doesn't look like it's this, but because we did a bunch of these things, it looks like it's probably more maybe for, in this case, or not necessarily in your case, but in this example, maybe this may be more of like a spinal joint issue or an instability versus you just pulled a muscle. Especially things you mentioned that you've tried a bunch of things before. Some of them worked to a point because you got pain relief.
Yes.
But you realize that like, hey, maybe I'm out of pain, but I can't squat the way I wanted to, or some other things. So go through the exam process, consultation, pull out some health goals. Most people come in eventually from pain, but it's not the actual pain that makes them come in. It's the thing that they can't do because of the pain.
Right.
And so like you're a good example of a few people come in already knowing like my goal is lifelong health.
Right.
Which is rare, which is commendable. And then on top of that, you layered it on top of, hey, I've got some issues that I can't functionally do things, so we're tying it to that. So a lot of the things we're focusing treatment on are, we've got the imaging, right? You wouldn't go to a dentist and try to get cavities filled if you didn't have the imaging that the dentist takes, right? And just like a dentist, we teach spinal hygiene. My patients love that I have this, and I have these scattered throughout the office for a reason. Because, you know, sometimes I joke with the patients, hey, you know, how's your dentist take it? And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, you know, the fact that you're not brushing your teeth every morning, because they mentioned that they're out of pain. And they're like, what are you talking about? I'm like, well, you mentioned that you're not in pain anymore. When did you tell your dentist you stopped brushing your teeth because you're not in pain? They're like, I don't. I was like, exactly. So why would you stop taking care of your spine just because you're not in pain, right? You're like, man, I owe you. It's only been a couple adjustments, couple visits, some traction, and you're already feeling completely different.
Oh yeah, 1000%.
So, and then there's things that we give you at home that you need to do so that you're not in here every day of the week. Because we can get, do you remember what I said about spinal correction?
We can get down to a maintenance level where we're only here a couple times a month or yeah.
Right, exactly, whatever it is. But we can also get structural correction with the adjustments alone, but it will take being in here practically every day for a while. But when we add in all these other things, we can get correction a lot faster. And then when I give you stuff at home that you actually do, which he's doing a very good job of doing, that will get you correction faster, and then you're in here less, but you're doing way more. Like if 100% is the team effort here, in the beginning, clinic's kind of like 50, 60, 70, 80%, somewhere around there. And this little bit is like what you're doing at home. But then it starts to get bigger and bigger and bigger, and all of a sudden, clinic time's down to here. You're at home maintaining everything. Right, which comes down to the spinal hygiene, aka dental hygiene. You brush your teeth every day, whether you feel pain or not, because anything we want to invest in proactively, we do, or anything we want to have healthy, we invest proactively, right? So I just wanted to mention that too. Get a nice printout that you get to take home. This is what we base structural correction care on, and we'll go over the x-rays. We'll show you on one side is normal, nice, healthy, normal, and on the other side is where you're at. And based on what we see and how much degeneration is going on in the spine is how we develop a care plan if you want to do structural correction. Most people do once they see something like that, but not everyone does, and that's your choice. Your body, your choice, right? We'll match them with your goals. If your goals is to get out of pain, hey, we'll do that. One thing we won't do for people, just if they're curious, if you just want an adjustment, we don't do that. I have tons of colleagues that I happily refer to that will just adjust you once and send you on your merry way. I don't like to do that because I don't know what's going on with your body. One adjustment is like an Advil. That's just gonna get you out of pain, but it ain't gonna fix anything, right? So